couple more things that I want to add about that whole story is right after he unalived himself, obviously the police came. They gathered our clothes as evidence. They had to do like an investigation. We had to go down to the police station at like 4:30 in the morning, and we were separated and had to write what happened and turn it in. And they came to the conclusion that he unalived himself and we were not involved. And then we just had to be, all right, like that was it, so we stayed at like our friends' houses for a little bit because obviously like that was a situation. By the way, when somebody does that, there is no cleanup crew. You have to hire somebody, or in our case, because we didn't have any money, our beautiful friends and family and that surrounded us came and did that dirty work. And to this day I cannot imagine what they saw. I know that whenever we finally came back home, probably like around a month later or so, maybe 3 weeks later, they had tried to make it look as normal as possible, but you could still see stuff. Like I remember like the mums on the wall had stuff. There was a specific something hanging from the ceiling. I mean, it was crazy. And then after that, my mom had 2 teenage daughters. I was 15, my sister was 17. We were both probably getting in a little bit of trouble. My mom really didn't know how to handle 2 teenagers, especially girls. So, and also you have to remember, this whole time, until like recently, this whole time, Chuck held a very special place in my heart. Like he and I were so close. I knew like he did some bad things, but like besides those bad things as a kid, like he and I laughed a lot. We had water gun fights. There was like a lot of good memories, like in between the bad. It wasn't the same for everybody else in the house. So after he passed, I was grieving hard. I feel like I lost my dad a traumatic way. There was a lot going on, and then mom didn't know how to really handle taking care of 2 teens. She felt like she had her hands full. It wasn't too long after he passed away, she met somebody. That's going to be a totally different story, but I'll just say this for now. She met somebody. His name was Tom. I'll go into that next time. But she sent me to California for almost 5 months to go live with my aunt and uncle. And that was so hard. I felt completely abandoned by her because in that moment I had lost somebody so dear that I thought. And then my mom, kind of just shipped me off. And honestly, she was gathering her life together at that point. She was trying to figure things out. She barely talked to me. There was just a handful of times that we communicated, and I was devastated, and I ended up reaching a point where I was like, I miss my mom. Like, I just want to go home and thankfully she let me come home. But when I came home, whole different story. This is a whole different positive story. For the most part, positive. So I definitely want to tell that story though. It does end tragically, that next story, but a lot of it is very beautiful. And I'm so thankful that we kind of got out of these crazy, crazy situations and got to see what love really looks like. So please stay tuned for that. And like I said, if y'all have any questions about anything, let me know. And I know my last video ended like abruptly. I don't know what I did. I'm still learning how to edit, and that doesn't really say much. So, okay, thanks. Bye.